I don't care who you think you are. You need to leave my store right now, or I will call the security to kick you out." The voice echoed through the pristine Beverly Hills jewelry store as 42-year-old Diana Mitchell, the black woman, stood face to face with store manager Patricia Whitman. Diana's hands trembled with barely contained rage, her navy blazer perfectly pressed despite the chaos erupting around her. Diana's eyes blazed with an intensity that made everyone in the store freeze. There was something in her gaze that spoke of power barely restrained, of someone who had been pushed past their breaking point. Patricia's face flushed red as she reached for her phone. "I'm calling the police. You look like a thief and should be arrested." But Diana was already one step ahead, pulling out her own device with hands that had stopped trembling and were now deadly steady. "Go ahead, call them. But first, let me make my call." Little did Patricia the manager know that this was the beginning of her downfall when the woman she humiliated revealed who she really was. Before we dive into the story, if you believe everyone should be respected no matter their skin color, hit the subscribe button, type respect, and what country you're watching from in the comments. Diana Mitchell, 42 years old, was the founder and CEO of Luminous Designs, a company that owned 47 stores across 12 states and generated $180 million in annual revenue. She had stores in Beverly Hills, Manhattan, Chicago, and Atlanta. Celebrities wore her designs on red carpets. Her engagement rings were featured in magazines. She had been on the Forbes list of America's richest self-made women for the last 8 years. But here's what made Diana truly remarkable. Despite having more money than she could spend in 10 lifetimes, she still drove her 2003 Honda Civic. The same car she had bought when her business finally started making real money. When people asked her why she didn't upgrade to a luxury car, Diana always gave the same answer. "It's a waste of money. This car gets me where I need to go, and every time I look at it, I remember where I came from." Every morning, Diana followed the same ritual. She woke up at 5 a.m., put on that bracelet, and decided which of her stores to visit, unannounced. This wasn't about checking up on employees or looking for problems. It was about making sure that every customer who walked into a Luminous Design store got treated the way Diana wished she had been treated during the years when she was struggling. "I built this company," Diana often told her employees, "so that no one would ever have to feel the way I felt when people looked at me and decided I didn't belong somewhere." Let me tell you about the store where all the drama unfolded. Luminous Designs Beverly Hills. This wasn't just any store in Diana's empire. This was her flagship location, her pride and joy, the crown jewel of everything she had built. Located on Rodeo Drive, this store generated $2.3 million in revenue every single month. It was where A-list celebrities shopped for red carpet events, where old Hollywood money families had been customers for years, where engagement rings worth more than most people's houses were just another Tuesday sale. Diana had designed every detail of this store herself. The lighting had been positioned to make every diamond sparkle perfectly. Running this flagship location was Patricia Whitman. Patricia was 38 years old with a perfectly hair and a wardrobe that screamed old money. She had grown up in Connecticut in one of those families where wealth wasn't new or flashy. It was just a fact of life, like having blue eyes or brown hair. Patricia had seen her new job as more than just managing a store. In her mind, she had been elevating the brand. She had been bringing a level of sophistication and exclusivity that she felt the company needed. Patricia had genuinely believed that not every customer was right for Luminous Designs, and she had taken it upon herself to decide who was worthy of the full Luminous experience. Working under Patricia had been 26-year-old Kevin Torres, the assistant manager who was everything Patricia wasn't. Then there had been Ashley Chen, the 23-year-old sales associate who represented everything beautiful about Diana's vision for her company. And finally, there had been Marcus Johnson, the 45-year-old security guard who had needed this job more than anyone else in the store. On this particular morning, Diana had decided to make one of her surprise visits to the Beverly Hills store. She had climbed into her Honda Civic, the same car that always got strange looks when she parked it in front of luxury stores, and had driven through the streets of Beverly Hills toward the store that represented everything she had worked for. When Diana had walked through the front door of her Beverly Hills flagship store, the first thing she had noticed wasn't the gleaming displays or the soft classical music. It had been that one of the display cases was slightly crooked. But Diana hadn't said anything about it. This had been supposed to be an unannounced visit to observe how her store operated when the CEO wasn't expected. She had straightened her navy blazer, touched her grandmother's bracelet for luck, and walked deeper into the store she had designed from the ground up. Diana had headed straight for the centerpiece of the entire store, the Aurora collection. This hadn't been just any jewelry display. This had been Diana's personal masterpiece, a $2 million collection of rare diamonds that represented the absolute pinnacle of her company's craftsmanship. The Aurora necklace had been priced at $350,000, and Diana had considered it one of the most beautiful pieces she had ever seen. As Diana had approached the Aurora display, Patricia had noticed her and walked over with what appeared to be a friendly smile. But if you had looked closely, you could have seen that Patricia's smile hadn't quite reached her eyes. She had already sized up Diana based on her appearance and made assumptions about what kind of customer she was dealing with. "Hi there," Patricia had said in a voice that was just a little too cheerful, a little too condescending. "Are you looking for something special today?" Diana, who had had no idea that she was being judged, had responded with genuine enthusiasm. "Yes, I'd like to see the Aurora collection." The moment Diana had said those words, Patricia's fake smile had faltered. The Aurora collection hadn't been something you showed to casual browsers. These had been museum-quality pieces that required serious buyers with serious money. Patricia's voice had taken on a different tone as she said, "Oh, those are our premium pieces. They start at $200,000. Diana had been able to hear the change in Patricia's voice, but she had given her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe Patricia had just been trying to be helpful by explaining the price range. "I understand," Diana had replied calmly. "I'd still like to see them." Now Patricia had been in an uncomfortable position. She hadn't been able to just refuse to show the jewelry. That would have been too obviously discriminatory. But she also hadn't wanted to waste time with someone she had decided couldn't afford these pieces. So she had tried a different approach. "Do you mind if I ask what the occasion is?" Patricia had asked, hoping to find a reason to steer Diana toward less expensive options. Diana had been genuinely puzzled by the question. In all her years of buying and selling jewelry, she had never been asked to justify why she wanted to look at something. "Does it matter?" she had asked. Reluctantly, Patricia had unlocked the Aurora display case, but she had hovered over it protectively, like she was guarding the crown jewels from a potential thief. She had moved slowly, clearly hoping that Diana would get bored and walk away. But Diana hadn't walked away. Instead, she had leaned in to examine the pieces with the practiced eye of someone who had been in the jewelry business for over 2 decades. She had pointed to the centerpiece necklace and said, "The cut on this diamond is exceptional. Colombian origin?" Patricia had been completely caught off guard. How had this woman known about diamond origins just by looking? Customers didn't usually have that kind of knowledge. "How did you? Yes," Patricia had stammered. Diana had continued her examination, and what she had said next should have made Patricia realize she was dealing with someone who knew more about jewelry than most people in the business. "The clarity is flawless, but I noticed the setting could be improved. The prongs are slightly uneven." Now, Patricia had been getting defensive. No one had criticized the craftsmanship in her store, especially not some random customer who had driven up in a Honda Civic. "Our pieces are crafted by master jewelers," she had said stiffly. Diana, still trying to be diplomatic, had replied, "I'm sure they are. I'm just very particular about quality." That's when everything had changed. The front door had chimed, and in had walked Mr. and Mrs. Blackstone, a wealthy white couple in their 60s who were regular customers. Patricia's entire demeanor had transformed instantly. Her face had lit up with genuine excitement, and she had practically bounced on her toes as she greeted them. "Excuse me," Patricia had said to Diana without even looking at her, "I need to help these important customers." Patricia had rushed over to the Blackstones with the kind of enthusiasm she should have shown every customer. Mr. and Mrs.